Watch and burn.
Hey everybody! So tonight I am looking to discuss the 1997 film Event Horizon. And, well, the main reason that I wanted to discuss this movie is because I've loved this movie since I saw it in theaters, if memory serves. And I remember the theater was packed and everybody at school had seen it. But then, overall, it was a commercial failure, which was always really surprising to me because I've loved it right from the jump. And it just felt so honest. Like it had this sort of like if The Shining took place in space, you know? Except it didn't feel like they were trying to rip off The Shining or they were trying to borrow anything from Kubrick. I just kind of felt like it didn't really get I guess the respect that it deserved back then because it just disappeared so quickly, and most people overall a few years later started to say it was kind of stupid. And by the mid-2000s I felt like I was pretty much the only person left in the world who still loved this movie. And I know recently, as of like the 2020s or so, it started to get sort of like a second, third look, and everybody's starting to say how it's really good and it's really scary. The Event Horizon found hell, and that their visions of hell are so reminiscent of everything that Clive Barker had done with Hellraiser, with Pinhead, and it's just so real. Like the quick flashes of the crew members, all the crew, being tortured. It's so just honest, like it's barbed wire and shit in this sort of spacey hell, but it's using things like barbed wire to fuck people up with, and it still doesn't come off at all feeling like some sort of Hellraiser ripoff or Hellraiser clone. And the Event Horizon itself sort of looked like this sort of steel cathedral, and I loved how like the medical bay was so terrifying. The only thing I didn't really get was, I can't remember her name, the chick with the kid who was in the wheelchair. She saw him on board the ship running around, and she like chases him down towards the end of the movie, and this ends up being responsible for the reason why she dies. The kid is, of course, the ship manipulating her, and it manipulates her to a ledge, and she falls off. And I'm thinking to myself, well, she knows that's not her son. Her son can't walk, right? But no, she thinks it's her son, and she goes after him. I thought Sam Neill's performance was great, how the ship, like once he's on the ship, he goes completely crazy. And I know that the catalyst for that would probably be his wife I'm gathering from the start of the film, had several suicide attempts, and then perhaps with one of them she was successful. So emotionally he was kind of broken. And I loved how Laurence Fishburne's backstory was how he left the one guy behind, and he ended up burning alive in space, and how the ship knew this. And I absolutely loved how the core of the ship looks like a biblically accurate angel. I mean, that had to be done on purpose, right? I mean, everything I looked up from this movie doesn't necessarily point out to that, but this is seriously, like, straight out of the actual Bible, that this is what a biblical angel looks like. And I love how sinister the core was, and I loved how the whole place with the core, you could have seen a lot of industrial bands, like, you know, like Old Ministry and Nine Inch Nails doing like music videos there, because that place was rad. But yeah, I mean, I love this movie. This movie is terrifying. It's easy to watch. I've seen it like 100 times. I absolutely love the ship design. I love the characters. I believe the story. The performances are solid. The only thing that's a little off, I suppose, is the end. It's a little easy going, and I know that it's workable, at least, I can say that. But I don't love the end. But really, that's my only real criticism. This movie is perfect. Even with the end, this movie is still amazing. And that's where I'm leaving it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for however long it's been tonight while I discuss the 1997 film Event Horizon. Like always, don't forget, if you like this review or you like this movie, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. I said don't forget twice. But most importantly, don't forget that you kick ass. And I will talk to you soon. Have a good night.